What's up guys, Dave here. So we've recently heard about the hardware for Project Scorpio, Xbox next console. So what I'm going to talk about today is, are they actually losing the exclusivity war? They might be winning the hardware war, but when it comes down to a games console, is their lineup of games as good as the PlayStation's? So when we take a look at the games that are going to be coming out on Xbox One, they do leave a lot to be decided really. Take a quick look. We have Halo Wars 2, which is already out, which is an RTS game, which, no, it is a decent game. Crackdown 3 allegedly should be out this year. Now, that's been delayed a long time. There was a beta multiplayer mode, but we haven't had the full game out yet. Phantom Dust, no, that's a remaster. Sea of Thieves, which does actually look quite cool. Little sea pirate game. State of Decay 2. And Cuphead. Now, they're pretty much all the big games coming out. As you can see, they do leave a lot to be decided. They are okay games. None of those are going to be Game of the Year contenders, really. The majority of them are games that you're going to pick up probably when they're on offer, when they're a bit cheaper, and have a little play on. The only one stand out is Crackdown 3. If you played the other two Crackdowns, you're probably going to pick it up when it comes out on day one. If you haven't, you will wait. I mean, the multiplayer is meant to be really cool on it. But there's so many good multiplayer games out there that they've got a lot to compete against. Now, when we compare that to PlayStation's lineup, which is pretty sweet, they've got Neo, Persona 5, Horizon Zero Dawn, which is being met with such a high level of just excitement by fans. You know, they've recently had... No Man's Sky was a bit of a damp squib, but they've done a huge update to bring it back up to what it should be, and it's actually turning out to be a really good game. Got another Uncharted game coming out. We got The Last of Us Part 2. You know, Gods of War. As well as those, they've got the remastered of Final Fantasy VII, the best Final Fantasy game according to a lot of people. You know, that's pretty huge that they got that as a console exclusive, as well as they've remastered all the other Final Fantasy games, or will at the very least be remastering them. A couple of them they've already brought out, and they're console exclusives as well. But then when you consider that they've had The Last Guardian out, which is a game with a lot of heart, there's just nothing on the Xbox that can compete with those types of games. I mean, they even get another high-res Crash Bandicoot coming out. You know, it's coming back to PlayStation. It's been wanted for so long. It just seems like Xbox they've just concentrated so much on the actual physical hardware of the Scorpio that they've not thought, actually, we need some really good games to get people to go out and actually buy this console. Because are people going to go out and buy a new 4K console and potentially a 4K TV to play the likes of Call of Duty and Battlefront on? I really, really doubt it. They need some good exclusive games to make them make the jump. These games are coming out on the Xbox One as well if they've already got one of those. So why are they going to upgrade to the Scorpio when all they're going to do is get better graphics and it's going to be optimized slightly better, so they're going to hit the 60 FPS more often? You want the actual content. That's what drives the console, not the hardware. Look at the 360 one, the battle against the PS3, and that had the weaker hardware in. You look at the GameCube had better hardware in than the PS2, but it was abysmal. It didn't really sell. No one picked it up. It's not always about the hardware. You have to have the games to go with it to push the console along. I think even the funniest fanboys for Xbox will be looking at the games coming out with a little bit of worry. I mean, I'm a huge Xbox fan, even though I'm sitting here with a Wii U as well, which, let's not even talk about that disaster. But I'm sitting here looking at the games going, well, there's a hell of a lot of games over on the PlayStation I actually want to play. And there's not that many exclusives on the Xbox that actually look that good. I mean, the last two exclusives I picked up were Forza Horizon 3, which is a really good game, but at the end of the day, it is just a racing game. You can't really call home about that. And Recall, which was a cool little game to play, quite fun. I've not finished it. I've played it a bit. I did enjoy it, but it's not really gripped me that much. And surely that's a huge worry that Xbox should have. I don't know if they actually have it, but it's what they should be worrying about, that they're not going to compete with the games. And to sell your console, you have to compete with the games. A lot of people are going to look at the PS4 Pro and go, well, it's not a true 4K console. but it's upscaling it, so who cares about the hardware? Does the hardware matter if it's giving me a 4K experience and it's got the superior games that look awesome in 4K? My eyes can't tell the difference if it's upscaled 4K or normal 4K, so does it really matter? A lot of people won't even look into, does it put any more strain on the console? Does it have an effect in it to a detriment in a different location on the console? The experience, people just don't think about that. They go, it's a 4K console that has the better games. So of course, people who don't have a next gen console, or do have the PS4 or an Xbox One, and they're looking at which one to pick up next, well, you're going to have the cheaper console with the better games that plays them to the same standard. Surely you're not going to spend 500 quid on a brand new console which does the same things as something that's 350 quid and it has the better games on. You've got a lot of people that had the Xbox 360 for the 8 years that it was out, got Xbox One day one. I know some people that picked up the Xbox One S, and now they're sitting here looking at the Scorpio coming out and they're going, meh, I might just pick up a PS4 Pro. Because why wouldn't I? It's got some awesome games on. We're not even talking about just the games that have come out this year. They've got all the remastered Uncharteds that have come out. Like I said before, No Man's Sky that was out last year. I know a lot of people want to play that since it's been updated. They had the likes of Bloodborne. They got the kill zones if you're into them. I know a lot of people aren't really into kill zones, but they have them. They've even been remastering games like The Last of Us. They've come out. If people didn't have the PlayStation 3, they can go and pick up a full HD higher res version of that. There's just a lot going for the PlayStation 4 now, and not much for the Xbox. It's a 4K console. Who cares? It's got the VR as well. We haven't even mentioned about the VR. I mean, Jesus. Even if the VR is just a little gimmick, it's still better than what does Xbox have? The Kinect, the HoloLens, if you want to drop about $2,000 on it, however much it is, and it's probably got nothing that's compatible. So Microsoft just really need to pull the finger out. Hopefully at E3, which is in 2 months, they announce some really good new IP that they're going to be releasing this year that they've just kept behind the scenes to try and really drum up hype at a late stage. They know PlayStation's had a cool lineup. Maybe they're going to try and let that peter out a little bit and then announce this, so people have forgotten about some of the games coming out on the PlayStation and the ones that are already out, and just go, well, that's the past, look at the future, this is what's coming out at the end of this year and the start of the next. Now, there wasn't that many games that come out with the PlayStation 4 Pro, so they might go along the same lines and go, well, it's better hardware, but the games will follow, just believe. Because the PS4 Pro, did it actually come out with any games? I don't think it did. It had the VR with all the demos, and you had this short Batman game, and was it 4 patches it gave for older games to make them 4K, which you kind of broke the games at the same time, but that's a whole different discussion to be had. But that was still really successful because it come with the VR. If it didn't have VR, would the PS4 be as successful? Probably wouldn't have, because it's just a slightly more powerful console with the same games. Now, people might have picked it up this year. I bet a lot of people would have waited until Black Friday this year to pick up the PS4 Pro. It's in my line of sight for Black Friday, that and probably the Nintendo Switch if they get over some of the issues they're having. But a lot of people aren't going to be looking at Black Friday this year and think, oh, I'll pick up an Xbox One. I'll pick up an Xbox One S. Apart from having the 4K Blu-ray player, it's got better hardware. So what? Does the same thing. You've got the new Samsung phones do exactly the same as the Huawei phones and all the other ones, which are half the price. It's got virtually the same hardware. Software does the same things. Why pay the extra price for the same thing? We haven't even really discussed the Switch. It might not be a 4K console, but you see some of the IP on that in comparison, right? It didn't ship with much. It's got like the 1-2 switch, which is pretty cool. It's got all those little mini games, which could be awesome. But it's got Breath of the Wild, which is going to be one of the biggest games of the year. What does Xbox have to compete with Breath of the Wild? Absolutely nothing. And we're not even talking about the Mario that's coming out at the end of the year, which just looks funky as hell. It looks like Mario in the real world, but just Mario style. It looks pretty awesome. A lot of people are going to be looking at that and going, well, I might just pick up the Switch. Who cares about 4K? It looks good HD. It's only on a small screen. I won't even be able to see 4K on this small screen, so who gives a toss about that? and it's got some cool IP on it, and it's going to be getting third-party games on it as well, which should hopefully take off. There's a lot of competition coming against the Xbox at the moment, and apart from bashing out some good hardware, they are falling just a little bit short, and hopefully they announce some things at E3 to excite Xbox fans. I'm hoping so anyway. I don't want to go over to a PlayStation. I hate the pad. It's horrible. It's so uncomfortable. It's awkward to hold. Please, Xbox, don't make me go and get a PlayStation and have that awful pad. I'm begging you, please don't. I think we'll leave it there, guys. If you liked the video, make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's always appreciated having fans. Take it easy. I'll see you next time.